This episode right here is brought to you by The Great Courses Plus. Hey Geography peeps, so Geography Go is coming up, and in light of that, I'd like to answer a question that many of you have asked over and over again, and I've been a little hesitant in answering this because, I was afraid it might portray some kind of bias I have towards certain things, but in the end, we all have our bias and interests, so I may as well just jump in. What are my top 10 travel destinations? For me, this was an incredibly difficult task to rank this list because I had over 60 top locations that I really wanted, but I had to whittle it down to 10. I think I got it down though. These are places that rank high on my top 7 criteria list and rank at least a 3 or lower on the poop care index. If you don't know what that is, check out this video where I kind of explain everything. For this list, some of the places are countries as a whole and some of them are general geographic regions or trails that encompass multiple countries in it. So let's just jump in. Number 10, the icy south. Of course, you know what I'm talking about, Antarctica, and of course to get there, I'd probably have to depart somewhere off of the Patagonia region of South America. You would think Antarctica would be higher on my list because I've been to 6 continents and that's the last one, but I can hold it off for a little bit longer. Nonetheless, not only is Antarctica visually stunning, I mean, who doesn't want to see the blood falls, but the other cool thing is that the research stations are kind of like a little world microcosm. On King George Island alone, you can drive all the way from the Russian base to the China base to the Brazil base to the Argentina base to the Chile base to the South Korea base, and you can get your passport stamped at each one. And of course, once again, Patagonia. In order to get to Antarctica, you kind of have to leave from there. Oh my gosh, Patagonia is just mind-boggling. That is my #1 spot in South America. I would absolutely love to check it out. Glaciers, ice, penguins, the indigenous Mapuche people. To me, that's absolutely fascinating. Anyway, it's all wishful thinking, but hopefully one day I'll make it. Moving on. Number 9, the Seven Sisters. Now here's the thing, India is heavily packed and touristy, let's just be honest. Although beautiful sights abound in every corner of the country, chances are most places are going to be a 4 or 5 on the poop care index, except Northeast India. While everybody else is waiting in line trying to get a picture of the Taj Mahal or some Hindu shrine, they're totally missing out on places like Meghalaya, Assam, and Nagaland. This place only has about 4% of India's total population and is made up of 6 official states and Arunachal Pradesh, which is that place disputed, but in all honesty, it's pretty much all administered by India. One reason why I chose this place is because the vibrant, secluded, incredibly well-maintained regional hill tribe culture that stands in such stark contrast with the rest of India, especially Nagaland. Oh my gosh, that place has like over 15 different tribes with their own languages, cuisine, traditions, architecture, customs, everything. Also, entering Arunachal Pradesh might be kind of cool. I love that feeling of sovereignty limbo. Nonetheless, there are still tourists that know about this place and they come regularly, and the hill tribe people have to put on traditional dance shows to entertain them and make money from them, which kind of kills the mood, but I get it. In the end, you can take your Taj Mahal, I'll take Nagaland. Moving on. Number 8. Turkic Siberia. Now this was a really hard one because there were so many places in Russia that I wanted to put on this list. I mean, there was like Kamchatka, there was Sakhalin, Chukotka Autonomous Okrug. That one actually almost beat this one. However, I have to stick with Yakutia, or the Sakha Republic. The reason being because not only does it score high on the criteria list and the poop care index, but this place is like a cultural anomaly. This is the northernmost region of Turkic peoples on the planet. Most Turkic peoples are concentrated in Central Asia and in the Caucasus Turkey region, but then you find this strange remote far-off domain locked away in the freezing Siberian taiga. Then you're like, oh hey, those are the cousins. Well, and they've been living there for thousands of years. That's weird. Stuff like that blows my mind and makes me want to see it for myself. Of course, Russian assimilation is still visible, but they haven't lost that Turkic spark that makes them who they are. Plus, the Siberian landscape around them is not too bad either. Speaking of Central Asia, number 7, the Empty Sea and the Gate to Hell. Uzbekistan has been on my mind for almost 10 years, and the reason being because the Aral Sea. At one point, the entire sea was in danger of completely drying up due to human usage. However, in the past 10 years, all surrounding countries were like, oh shoot, yeah, we should probably stop depleting this major source of life nourishment. And since then, parts of the sea have seen a rebound. I would probably have to fly to Nukus in Karakalpakstan and then go up north to the sea and then immediately backtrack down south to Darvaza. Since it's not too far, I may as well go see the Gates of Hell in Turkmenistan. The drive would probably suck as it goes to the empty, desolate Garagum Desert, but it's worth it to me, and I'm good at killing time. In a perfect ideal setting, I would probably add Osh, Kyrgyzstan, and Qom, Iran to this itinerary, but those mountains keep getting in the way and ruining everything. This is probably the smoothest and quickest unobstructed route with the best landmarks that I could find. Number 6. The wet desert. At the end of the day, I have to see Lençóis Maranhães. Ever since the Brazil episode, this place has been stuck in my head and I can't get it out. There is just no place on earth like this. A consistently flooded freshwater desert. That's insane. Tourists still know about this place, but it's incredibly hard to get here. The largest major city would be São Luís, and even then, it's still like a 4.5-hour drive to the nearest town that barely even touches the sand dunes. However, that wouldn't be the end of my journey. After Lençóis Maranhães, I'd probably fly up to Macapa and then hire a 4-wheel drive truck driver to take take me all the way to the border of French Guiana. After that, I'd cross the Oyapock River and then continue on to Cayenne, the capital of French Guiana, and then I'd continue on to Suriname, and then continue on, ending my journey in Georgetown, Guyana. In a perfect ideal setting, I would like to drive along the coast in Venezuela all the way to the Macuro Peninsula and then take a ferry to Trinidad, but unfortunately there are no roads that connect Guyana with Venezuela. Speaking of coastal roads, number 5, the Guinea Gulf. This is actually a trip that I've been crafting in my head and dreaming about for years. The plan is to start in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, and then drive all the way to Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos, I've heard people pronounce it both ways. The entire trip only takes about 3 days, longer if you want to stop and look around. The best part is, for many parts of the ride, you actually get to see the Guinea Gulf coast, especially when you enter Togo and Benin with Lomé and Cotonou. Oh my gosh, and Togo, that place is weird in the coolest way possible. In the perfect ideal setting, I would like to add Cameroon to this itinerary, but the problem is it's incredibly difficult to drive from Nigeria to Cameroon. And if that was the case, I'd probably just buy a flight ticket from Lagos to Douala and then maybe take a little trek to Mount Cameroon off the coast to end my journey. Speaking of Africa again, number 4, the Black Spot. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a city boy at heart. I love my metropolitan chaos, but I do kind of have a thing for big, empty, desolate areas. I don't know why, I just do. Maybe I appreciate the placid reassurance of calm, quiet solitude every so often. The point is, Libya. The thing is, people are so blinded by mainstream news and media that they don't realize how beautiful Libya actually is. Libya is one of the least visited countries in the world, which to me is ridiculous. I mean, yeah, politics, but the everyday citizens could care less and they would love to just show you around. The thing that strikes me the most appealing about Libya, though, is not the coast, but what's hidden deep inside within the interior of the country. Libya is loaded with secret, secluded gems like the UNESCO heritage site of Old Town Gadames, an entire abandoned, beautifully constructed town of hundreds of buildings that you have full leisure to run around and scamper through. But the one thing in Libya that I am dying to see would be Wau al-Namus. Close to the geographic center of the Sahara, this place is incredibly hard to get to, rarely photographed or documented, and it is almost as far as you can go to be literally in the middle of nowhere. It's an abnormally peculiar volcanic field with dark basaltic granules that cover an entire area for about 10 to 20 kilometers in each direction, with a caldera in the center surrounded by an oasis. Let me repeat that. A volcano oasis in the middle of the desert. That's enough reason for me. Speaking of volcanic activity, number 3, Velo. Georgia came on top for me. The thing that really appeals most to me, though, is how incredibly rooted this country is with its history and distinct Georgian culture. Add on top of that you can find a multitude of monuments, castles, fortresses, and landmarks juxtaposed against snow-peak mountain backdrops, and you have something that looks like it came out of a fairy tale. And Abkhazia, oh my gosh, that scenery is just not fair. Plus, it would be really cool to get an Abkhazian stamp on my passport. And seriously, I want to try hachapuri, like real hachapuri made by real Georgians in Georgia. Then I can die peacefully. The problem is that Georgia is not as obscure as it used to be, and tourism has just exploded in the past 10 years. I don't know if there's an Asian invasion yet, but hopefully I can visit there before the conquest begins. Number 2, the Lone Rocks. Polynesian areas have always been at the top of my list. Nauru is, as of right now, the least visited country in the world, and I believe Tuvalu only ranks like 2 spots lower at like 3 or 4. To me, Nauru is so intriguing because it's so small, and it's an entire nation state. You can literally like jog around the entire country and make it back home for like lunchtime or early dinner. Each country only has about 10,000 people each, but they fiercely maintain their culture and lifestyles. It's amazing. Now when it comes to Tuvalu, the entire country is made up of skinny atolls, which might make you a little nervous as some parts of the island are only a few meters wide. Only the main capital, Funafuti, has an international airport. Otherwise, all the other 8 islands are only accessible by boat. But to be honest, meeting the people here would probably be my biggest joy. I mean, I can research these places as much as I want, but actually meeting a real Nauruan or Tuvaluan would be like finding gold hidden in a suitcase filled with diamonds, and the suitcase is also made of gold. Which brings us to the final number 1 destination, but before I get there, here are some honorable mentions that almost made the list. The Black Sea coast starting in Turkey and ending up in Ukraine, cutting through Moldova's Gagauzia and Transnistria breakaway regions. The Melanesian Trail starting in Port Moresby, going through the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu, ending in New Caledonia. Namibia's Skeleton Coast and Etosha Pan Basin and ferry circles ending in the African Quadrupoint. The Scottish Hebrides, Faroe Island, and Svalbard Trail. It killed me not to put this one on the list. Chad's Eneti Plateau through to Niger's UTA Flight 772 Memorial. This one would have been too difficult to plan. And finally, the Western Sahara coast to Nouakchott, Mauritania. Don't forget little Liechtenstein. Also, for personal reasons, I feel like at some point I have to visit all the countries of my ethnic makeup. France, Ireland, and as you know, my last name is Barbado, which is Italian, so Italy, and I actually really want to go to this small town called San Polo Matese, which is where all the Barbados come from. They even have a plaque in like the village center that shows all of the ancient Barbados. And since I've already lived in South Korea, I kind of feel like now I have have to go to North Korea. Alright, that being said, number 1. Now some of you have already been following me for a long time, so you know exactly what I'm gonna say. Greenland. You know, it's actually kind of funny because I hate cold weather. For me personally, anything below 65 degrees or like 18 degrees Celsius is considered freezing. But for some reason, I've just been growing in this fascination with the Arctic for years. Greenland is like the closest thing you'll get to a sovereign Inuit nation. The landscape is absolutely breathtaking, glaciers and icebergs as far as the eye can see, aurora borealis in the winter, and the entire interior of the country is a complete mysteriously strange, empty, desolate ice sheet that few people ever go into. Nobody has ever really extensively explored the interior of Greenland. The main language is Greenlandic, which is an Inuit language, and everybody here, even the white people, even the like 2 black people that live here, learn how to speak it. Everyone lives on a high diet of protein and fat from sea animals like whales, seals, fish, and seabirds. And yet they've come well into the 21st century with modern conveniences and technology. Most people have access to the internet. For me personally, I would like to start in Nuuk, the capital, and then make my way up to Disco Bay to the small town of Iqaluit, an incredibly small town beautifully located in the valley, encapsulated on 3 sides by a mountain. On Google Maps, you can see that the residents hunted and killed a whale off the coast. And if I have time, I would really like to make it all the way up to the US military base in Thule. It's like the US's most northern military base. That's my dream trip. That's my dream destination. Sorry everywhere else. That's just how it is for me. Speaking of the Arctic, once again, I gotta mention our good friends, the Great Courses Plus. They are helping out Geography Now. Love these guys. They have over 7,000 online courses taught by highly accredited professors and professionals in subjects all across the academic spectrum. They have an entire lecture series on the Arctic, including this lecture, Greenland and the Arctic Islands, which I am totally gonna watch. If not, though, you can still check out all their other stuff. They have everything. You can learn like math, history, science, economics, health. They even teach chess. You can get a free 1-month trial by going to this link right here, thegreatcoursesplus.com/geography. I'll put it in the description so you can click on it, or you can just sign up for one of their plans with great rates. It's amazing. It's like college at your fingertips. And once again, with no homework. Thanks, Great Courses Plus. Geography Now salutes you. That being said, I hope you'll like the next Geography Go episodes, and the next update, I'll be telling you my top 10 island destinations. So, hope you like that. Stay cool, stay tuned.